My presentation on why parents should impose screen and social media time limits on their kids. Okay, that's my brother, and this is my experience versus his experience with social media. So my experience is I wasn't allowed to have social media as a kid, and I was like I wasn't supposed to be on the screen that much. I was only allowed to be on the screen during special occasions, like if we're going on vacation and we're waiting in an airport for our plane. I was allowed to go on the screen, and but I was still not allowed on social media. I was only allowed to play like offline games. Versus my brother, who grew up more during COVID, so he was forced to be on the screen uh, for his school, which quickly got him addicted to apps like YouTube and like video games. So since the online school stuff, we've been trying to help him with his addiction to social media, and he's actually the reason why I wanted to choose this topic, because I'm worried about him and his mental health because of all the social media he's using. Um, what scrolling and social media is doing to kids' brains. So, some of the effects are less sleep, less time with people in person, and it's bad for your mental health. So, some of the solutions that the parents should implement for to help their kids are uh, delaying giving them a cell phone as long as possible, uh, to keep them off of the phone a lot, because a computer is not as bad as a cell phone because you can't bring a computer anywhere. Help the kids and help them develop offline skills, which is useful for keeping them offline and giving them something to do when they're not on the screen. So that you can give them something to do, like hobbies, sports. For example, I play basketball. They could do like art if they're interested in that, and then get kids out of the house. So when I was younger, I would always play with like my neighbors and stuff, instead of being on the screen, because I'd find that more like entertaining, and I also didn't have access to the screen, but that's one of the things I did instead of going on a screen, and give them a time limit of maximum 2 hours a day, and you should be strict about it. So as soon as that 2 hour time limit hits, you can like turn off their internet or tell them to get off, and make sure they don't go back on. And don't completely ban access to a screen or social media, because then they will sneak on it behind your back, which is always worse than when you know about it. Because when you know about it, you can control what they go on, and when you don't know about it, like they could just be on anything. The hidden villain in our lives. So social media, 95% of teens have a smartphone and use social media. Most kids in elementary school are using apps like YouTube and TikTok, which are built to get your brain hooked and addicted to come back and keep just wasting your time and your life on these apps. um, Most parents think that their kid only goes from like 30 to 2 hours a day, but it's usually a lot more than that, because they don't see their kids when they're on it for most of the time. And then the main villain in like this setup is social media, where they're specifically making videos to trigger dopamine, which is the same chemical that is released in your brain when using any level of drugs, from like marijuana to like heroin or like some higher level drugs. Um, kids, kids, especially teenagers, like getting likes and comments on their Instagram or TikToks, so they feel proud of themselves and it helps boost their ego. But as soon as a video or a post doesn't get as many likes as they think it's gonna get, it can affect their self esteem, and a lot of that can affect their mental health. Parents Parents don't understand how these platforms are manipulating their kids into returning to them and spending more and more time on them. So kind of like the heroes in this situation is like the parents but the parents need to understand how social media is tracking their kids, and schools need to teach um, like digital safety and screen time control, so that kids know how to control themselves when using a screen, and how to like break away of scrolling and go do something else. Okay, so being offline can save lives. This is a story about, and it happened close to Detroit, so pretty close to Canada, about a seventh grader named Dylan Reeves who saved their bus drivers and everybody on his school bus's lives, because he did not own a cell phone in seventh grade, so he was always watching what was happening around him, the other cars, how the bus driver like controlled the bus, and he was observing everything that was going on. As soon as he observed that their bus driver had passed out, he quickly ran to the front of the bus and pulled it over to the side and told somebody to call 911. And nobody else realized what happened to the bus driver because they were all scrolling on their cell phones. He was the only one that realized because he didn't own a cell phone at the time. In conclusion, cell phones and social media is not great for your health and can affect your self-esteem and mental health permanently.